Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, Friday, the 5th day of September 2025. My name is Alexis Jeffers, and of course I'm here every Friday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. As I have said in the past, I come here and spend my lunch hour with you and, just to impart some information and also speak about things that are important to all of us here on the island of Nevis. Speaking of the island of Nevis, I want to say good afternoon to all who are listening to Von Radio 860 AM and 93.7 FM at this time here on the island of Nevis, all 5 parishes, including, of course, what I consider to be the best parish on the island of Nevis up there in St. James. We're up in the north, but we have certainly played our part in the development of the island of Nevis. I want to say good afternoon to one and all over there. And of course down there in St. Kitts, there's always been some kind of controversy as to whether St. Kitts is down or up. On the map though it is north of us, of course. So I want to say up there in St. Kitts, the whole of St. Kitts, that is, good afternoon to you. And I know we have a large following down there in St. Kitts in terms of Von Radio and of course this program as well. And indeed, going further afield, we're looking at places like Statia, Sabre, St. Bart's, French and Dutch St. Martin, of course the US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. And I make one big swing back down south and say good afternoon to the folks over there in Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Guadeloupe, Martinique, and going further south, St. Lucia, Grenada, St. Vincent, all the way down to Guyana. I say good afternoon to all those who are listening to Von Radio down in those countries. And indeed, we appreciate your listenership because, of course, you have friends and relatives who are here in Nevis living among us. And we certainly welcome them as well as they assist us in the development of the island of Nevis. Going back north now and of course up in the United States from the eastern seaboard all the way across to the western flank of the United States, and a different time zone. We have Atlantic Standard Time, we have Eastern Standard Time, Central Time, Mountain Time, and all the way over to the west as well. They're what, about I think about three hours behind us, so it's morning there still. So I say good morning to the folks in California, Washington State, and Oregon, and of course going up to Canada, all of the whole of Canada and those cities such as Toronto, Quebec, Montreal, those parts. We have a lot of our nationals who are there. I say good morning or good afternoon to you, and of course up in Europe, United Kingdom, Germany, France, wherever we have our nationals, in Denmark, and of course going into Asia, Japan, of course the Republic of China, Taiwan, where we have a lot of our citizens who are there going to school, some are working, and of course if those who are there on vacation, you're lucky. It's quite some distance to go, but of course if you're there, enjoy the ambience and the hospitality of those folks there in the Republic of China, Taiwan. Now coming back home, of course it is Friday, of course, and yes, we normally have a format that we'll go through. Of course, I want to just say good afternoon and best wishes to anyone who are in the bereaved column at this point in time. Of course, there are persons who are grieving at this time, both here on the island of Nevis and on the island of St. Kitts and further afield. We want to say we are with you at this difficult time, and hope that you will continue to put your trust and faith in God, who have brought you thus far and will see you through to the end as well. So those who are at the Alexandra Hospital, I want to say good afternoon to you and best wishes to you as well. My good friend there, Iola Jeffers, was there, but I did get a message from her earlier that she is now back home. And Iola, I'm happy to hear that, and I wish you a speedy recovery. And all those who are still there at the hospital, I say best wishes to you and get well soon. Glenroy Skeet, Turkey, I haven't spoken to you for a bit, but I'm just sending a shout out to you and anyone else who are there or wherever you are and you're under the weather. I say get well soon. We want you to be back on your feet, and making your contribution towards the development of the island of Nevis. So I pray for that, and that will happen in God's name and in God's time. Yes. Okay. So birthdays. Quite a number of persons are celebrating today, celebrated yesterday, and earlier this week, and of course next week we have quite a large number of persons who are celebrating next week as well. I won't be able to go through everyone, but I selected a few who I will acknowledge at this time. Of course, today is the birthday of Vianna Gomes Lewis, Mrs. Vianna Gomes Lewis. She's originally from Newcastle, but of course live elsewhere now. I believe somewhere over in the Farms estate area. But Vianna, happy birthday to you, and I do wish you many more years of celebration as well. Of course, I believe it was yesterday was Garcia Thompson Hendrickson, Mrs. Garcia Thompson Hendrickson, from over there in the Camps area. I think she said, or the announcement that I heard says that she's living at Camps Lane. A lot of names, a lot of different names, a lot of different places here on the island of Nevis. Some adopted names, some names, but I will accept that one at Camps Lane if that is the case, because that is where she lives. And Mrs. Garcia Hendrickson Thompson, or Thompson Hendrickson, I hope you're having a wonderful time. And even though your birthday was yesterday, you still have the rest of the month to celebrate, and that's how we do it around here. You celebrate the entire month because it's your month, and indeed it is time for celebration. Today is also the birthday of Loretta. We all know Loretta, and I'm going to use her nickname at this point, or reveal her nickname. But back in the day, and we still do call her Tring from over the gut, but Tring lived down there in Potworks, Barnaby area now. So Mrs. Loretta Stapleton, she is Stapleton, that's right. She's celebrating today, and I wish you all the best, Loretta. I know you're celebrating a milestone. I'm not going to say on the air what that milestone is, but those who are familiar with Loretta would know that this is a significant birthday for her, as all of the birthdays of the past have been, and indeed all that will come in the future. But this one is special, and I want you to enjoy as well, Loretta. We'll be there to celebrate with you, of course, later and tomorrow and so forth. So we'll be around. We'll share some of the moments with you, okay? And then, of course, Mrs. Althea Jones. I don't think she's on the island as we speak, because I believe she said for this significant milestone that she's celebrating, she wants to travel the world. So she's somewhere out there on the globe somewhere enjoying herself. And that is what I've said in the past, that when your birthday comes, spend some time on yourself. Whatever monies you have, spend some monies on yourself as well, and go out and enjoy yourself, because it is what it is. You have to celebrate like there's no more to come, but we wish you many more still anyway. So Althea is celebrating a major milestone with this birthday, and I wish her all the best wherever she is. And be safe about your enjoyment as well, Mrs. Jones. And I'll see you when you get back on island. Of course, we did hear this morning on the radio that Rodney Elliott is celebrating today as well. You know, Rodney is a superstar around here in the Division community, you know. I think the oldest of person and the youngest of person knows Rodney, because she's always here on the radio station calling in and letting her voice be heard, and expressing her opinion as well. So she's always here, and of course she's connected to this radio station, as Mr. Herbert would have said this morning, and she's one wonderful person, a gem of a person, very controversial in many ways, but you know, you can love her, hate her, she'll still be Rodney Elliott anyway. So Rodney, happy birthday to you. Enjoy the rest of the day, and of course, as I said before, it is just the 5th of September, but you have the whole of September to celebrate. Yeah, so continue to enjoy. And of course, yesterday was my good friend's birthday, Cicely Phillip, from over there in the Camps Road area. I saw her yesterday, and you know, she was working. Of course, she's a self-employed business person, so you know, she just can't sit down and say she's not going to go to work. She have to work and make her money to pay her bills. But she was all dressed up yesterday in a different dress, you know. Like, this reminds me of the days when we used to go to high school. When our birthday comes, we would put on some long bobby socks and nice pant and a different type of shirt. It's almost like we wear our church clothes to go to school that day, to look nice and set ourselves apart and let everybody know it's our birthday. Cicely wasn't like that yesterday. Didn't have on any bobby socks, but I had on a different type of dress, you know, and looked nice. So, Precisely, hopefully you had a wonderful day yesterday, and you'll continue to enjoy the moment is still there. So continue to enjoy your birthday. Now, tomorrow I understand is Mr. Jeremy Singh's birthday, so he'll celebrate tomorrow along with my good friend up there in Church Ground, Vernice Pretty Liberd. Her birthday is tomorrow. Pretty, have a wonderful day tomorrow. It's the weekend, so it's your birthday, the weekend, everything all wrapped up in one. You go ahead and enjoy yourself and be safe about it. And I wish you many more years of celebration. Of course, on Sunday, the 7th, I have here my cousin, one of my wonderful cousins, Shara Skeet, lives up there in North Carolina. She's celebrating on Sunday. Shara, if you're listening to me, I want you to have a wonderful time. I know you have something special planned, and I know you're going to go out and enjoy yourself. And please do so, and do so in a safe way. And, you're doing exactly what I would have said in the past too, and that is to spend your money and go out and enjoy yourself. And you are someone who never cease to do that. So go ahead and enjoy your birthday. Of course, Muriel Senja will celebrate tomorrow along with my good friend down there. Well, he has a business place down at Penny's. That's Esbert Myers. He's celebrating on Sunday as well. And of course, Juletta Archibald up there in Fountain, my good friend there in Fountain. Happy birthday in advance to you, Juletta, and have yourself a wonderful day on Sunday. You're connected to the church, so you're going to go to church, give God thanks for his blessings and his tender mercies towards you. And of course, whatever you do on Sunday, do have fun as well. And of course, up there in Brown Hill, my understanding also is that Pat Thompson, is celebrating on Sunday. So Pat, have a wonderful time on Sunday as well. And just one more day, and that is Monday the 8th. My good friend over there in Newcastle, the grill champion, one of the best here on the island of Nevis, and he seemed to have, mastered his skills, and that is Royston Nisbet. He's an athlete, he's a sports person, he's also a great barbecue specialist. So I want to say happy birthday in advance to you, Royston. Have a wonderful day when it comes on Monday. And of course, I pray for God's blessings and guidance and protection for you and everyone else who are celebrating at this time. So, we move on from this, sorry. Okay. The weather. We had some rain this morning. Of course, it's quite sunny and hot outside right now as we speak. And indeed, it's always good to have some rain, because Nevis right now as it is, we still need some more rain, but the place is still lush and green at this time. But more rain is always needed, just about enough to keep us cool and to water the lawn and the crops and so forth, so that our farmers can cut down on their water bill. And of course, we all know that when rain falls and that water hits the ground, it makes a major difference. It's like blessings from heaven, So we had some rain earlier this morning, and of course we probably will get more over the next couple of days, because from what I'm seeing is that from the tropical weather outlook that we have seen is that there is a system out there, tropical wave, which is heading towards the Lesser Antilles, and of course over the next couple of days, say between Monday, Tuesday, it is expected to I want to use the word intensify, or let me not say intensify, let me say chances are by Monday or Tuesday it would then change into a tropical wave or something of that sort. But whatever it is, we'll have to prepare ourselves accordingly. There's a 90% chance of some changes in that system that we need to pay attention to. And I've always said, every week I speak about the weather, and I speak about being prepared and staying prepared, and that is what I'm asking us to do. So it is likely that this particular system will have an impact on us in some shape or form over the next couple of days. So we have to continue to look towards the east. Anything that is coming off of the African coast, which is the western coast of Africa, we have to pay attention as we are moving towards the peak period of the hurricane season. So let us stay prepared, and let us keep an eye out towards the east to see what is possible or what may become of some of these storms. Yeah, we're just praying that the Lord will continue to provide us with some protection during this particular time and bless us with tranquil weather throughout the rest of the season. Okay, so we leave that and we move on. In terms of announcements at this time, particular announcements, the Concerned Citizens Movement, the CCM party, will be having a fun day on National Heroes Day, which is the 16th of September. The 16th of September, a fun day will be held over there at the VOJN Sporting Complex. So I'm saying that now, and I'll repeat it again perhaps next week and the week, well, we'll just have one more Friday before then. But anyway, some flyers are out, so you'll see those flyers being posted all throughout social media. Indeed, this particular fun day will start at about 1 p.m. and finishes just about 7 p.m. on the 16th of September, National Heroes Day. Looking at what I'm seeing here is that there'll be various games and competition that will be done over there on that day. We'll have competition among the various constituencies for supremacy in tug-of-war, sock races, lime and spoon, dog and bone. Those of you who are familiar with these traditional sporting activities, there'll be domino competition as well, card games, and of course there'll be some activities for the children as well. There'll be musical entertainment for the entire period of time that will be provided by DJ Zimba and DJ Lalbo. So we'll have musical entertainment over there. There'll be different food items available. Now the food would be free, I am told. Free goat water, cook up in different styles. The different styles we have, like cook up without pork, cook up with pork, that kind of thing. Hot dog, I'm told. I don't want to give out any food and then you come and look for it. So it will be hot dog or hot dogs will be available to mostly for the children, I would say. And of course fried chicken, barbecue chicken, the like. So there'll be food, plenty of food, I understand. We can say plenty of food now, but when the crowd comes, I hope there's enough food for everyone. But the thinking is there'll be enough food for everyone over there and persons are asked to come. What I'll say though, as a footnote, that drinks will be sold by the vendors. We're asking vendors to come and set up themselves and sell the drinks, whatever type of drinks. But the food items will be provided by the Concerned Citizens Movement. So it is a day for fun and frolic. Free food, but you buy the drinks. Yeah, I hope that is very clear, and that is over there at the VOJN Sporting Complex. So I'm inviting one and all from all of the different constituencies, all of the different parishes, to come on over to the VOJN Sporting Complex on the 16th of September for a huge fun day put on by the Concerned Citizens Movement. So I'm hoping to see one and all. Now, before I go any further, I was just joined by my good friend here, Denise Smith. She has come to impart some information regarding an activity that will be held on the same day. Your timing is perfect, Denise, because I was talking about National Heroes Day, and the activity that you have planned or you're planning will be on National Heroes Day as well, right? So I leave it to you. So Denise would now speak to you about that.
Good afternoon to our listening audience. My name is Denise Smithen, Acting Director at the Department of Community Development. So I'm here to speak to you on some exciting events that are happening next week. So the Jessups Community Management Team, and of course you will know the Jessups Management Team for the Jessups Seafood Fiesta, but this coming National Heroes Day, they're having an Independence Barbecue and Fun Day at the Jessups Community Center, and this is in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism and of course yours truly, the Department of Community Development. So it's on Tuesday, September 16th, starting at 6 p.m. And so on sale, they'll be having barbecue chicken and ribs, stew pork, Kong's water, goat water, Johnny cakes, and more. And they'll be having various activities and competitions, such as the Sprite drinking competition, domino competition, and they'll also have a chef masterclass, complements the Ministry of Tourism. And so that day promises to be an exciting one, so I'm inviting the general public, family, friends, colleagues to come on out on Tuesday, September 16th for the Independence Barbecue and Fun Day. And also, of course, we have our upcoming Unsung Heroes Award, where we acknowledge persons in the community who have contributed significantly, and those persons are usually in the background. And so for St. Paul's Parish, we have Oren Perkins. St. John's Parish, Joe Claxton. St. Thomas's Parish, Tamara Farrell. St. James's Parish, Addison Jeffers. And the other parish is Pamela Barry, St. George's Parish, that is. And so we just want to congratulate and commend those persons for their work in the community and for always giving back and looking out for the community members.
Okay, very good. What is the name of the entity that is having this event on the
Thursday, Tuesday? Jessup's Community Management Team, and the president is Miss Tamara Farrell, and so of course she's one of our awardees for St. Thomas's Parish, and Miss Farrell has done a lot in our community, and so we just wanted to commend her for her efforts along with the other awardees. Also on Tuesday you can expect bouncing castles and a wide range of activities, so it will be a good day. There's going to be games for you to play as well, and as I said before, there'll be the Sprite drinking competition, which would be interesting to see. It would be interesting to see how that one pans out. I think they had that competition when there was just a seafood fiesta some time ago. I don't know if it was this year or the year before, and it was quite, actually it was this year, and it was quite successful. Persons really enjoyed it, so the management team decided to bring back that event.
So in St. Thomas's you have had quite a number of activities, and you have at least the calendar is dotted with a number of activities throughout the year. At least you had your Breadfruit Festival.
Yes.
Breadfruit Festival up in Bandsgate some weeks ago, a couple of months ago. And I want to commend you and your team and everyone else who work with you and alongside you there in the St. Thomas Parish area for keeping these activities going. So we're looking for duplicates throughout the whole of Navy, so at least, you know, there's always a talk, nothing much is happening. Yeah, so these activities are meant to ensure that there is something for persons to do and places for persons to go. So thank you very much, and certainly I wish you well with that activity. But I just spoke about another activity that is happening up north, so maybe I'll have to run down south and then run back up north to make sure I get a taste of what you're doing down there in Jessup's on the 16th of September. Very good. Okay, so thank you very much, Denise.
Thank you for having me.
Just, you know, you can just come in, and this program is normally archived, so it's on YouTube, so when persons go and listen later or whatever the case might be, they'll be able to at least learn of this particular event that you're having on the 16th. So you're all set. Very good.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming by. And I suppose you don't have anything to do with this activity on Sunday. There is an activity to be held over there at the VOJ Sporting Complex as well on Sunday the 7th. That is a Grill Master Barbecue competition. But this is put on by Gender Affairs.
Yes, Department of Gender Affairs, Sarah Hendrickson, and I saw the flyer and I'm quite impressed, and that too will be a very good event, exciting, and of course it would be good to see who becomes victorious, the ultimate grill master for that event. And the interesting thing, whoever wins this competition will represent the Department of Gender Affairs at the Dr. Parker grill competition, which will be held on the 18th, Saturday the 18th of October. So there is a build up here, and there is some significance about this. Last year, I believe, what's his name, Royston Quealy would have won the competition last year, so he went and represent. So he is perhaps going back to defend this year. So he's not in this competition, so someone will get a chance to win this time around, I suppose, because if he's the defending champion at the Dr. Parker Grill Master competition, that's in Miami?
Then it's Palm Bay to be exact. So that is on the 18th of October. So I wish all of the persons who will be entering on Sunday the best of luck. It starts at 12 noon. And of course, there'll be additional activities like cricket and domino on Sunday. That is this Sunday, the 7th of September. So I'm inviting one and all to the VOJ and Sporting Complex as well. So a lot of things
Lots of things happening.
A lot of things happening. Okay, Denisa, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you stopping by, and you have yourself a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful weekend as well.
You too.
Yeah?
And I hope each and every one of you enjoy your independence celebration. So from the Department of Community Development, I just want to wish each and every one of you happy Independence 42.
Okay.
Thank you, Honorable.
Very good. And all the best, yes. So back to what we were talking about. So we were looking at some of the activities just now that are upcoming. And of course, I spoke about the CCM, the Concerned Citizens Movement Fund Day. And of course, Denisha just spoke about the activities to be held on the 16th of September, Tuesday, the 16th of September, down at Jessup's. And that activity you'll hear more about and see more about as the flyers are circulated accordingly. And of course, I did just speak about the Grill Master Barbecue competition that is coming up on Sunday the 7th at the VOJ and Sporting Complex, starting at 12 noon. And of course, they'll have other activities such as cricket and dominoes, and of course, food and drinks will be on sale. So the winner of that competition on Sunday will have a ticket booked to the Dr. Packer annual barbecue, which will be held on Saturday, 18th October 2025 up there in Palm Bay. Okay, very good. Let's move right along. Okay, at this time of the month, normally I would come with some numbers in terms of the movement of passengers over there at the Oale Water Taxi Facility. Now, these numbers, sometimes persons would have debates about these numbers, you know. And when I say persons, not so much the Nivision public, because the Nivision public understand what is happening and really appreciate this particular development in terms of the investment that was made and the movement of persons and passengers and the likes over there. And so when we come with these numbers, it is a matter of informing the general public, because the data that we provide tells a story, and it really tells a positive story and a good story as well as to what has happened since that facility has been constructed. Some will try to minimize the impact of this particular investment, but the numbers don't lie, and the impact, you cannot fight against it. Sometimes it's better off you embrace something than to fight against it, because it's already there and it's already creating that positive impact. And how do you change that? There's hardly any way you can change it, because the numbers continue to grow over the months and the years. And so we have continued to keep track of this data, and I'd like to let the general public know what the passenger movement was for August 2025. Of course, we had a movement of just about 28,141 passengers throughout the month of August. So 14,141 passengers would have come in from Reggae Beach and elsewhere, because persons would come from Port Zante as well, of course, and indeed Park Hyatt as well too. Park Hyatt and Reggae Beach and where else? Christoph Harbour perhaps. But anyway, 14,141 passengers would have come into the Oale Water Taxi Facility, and then going out would be just about 14,000 passengers, for a grand total of 28,141 passengers. Now, you know, we have been keeping a tally since May 2019 as to the movement of passengers, and you know, we are pushing well over 1 million passengers would have passed through that facility, which is a phenomenal thing, really. So at this point in time, based on last month, the end of July, we had passenger movements in and out of just about 1,280,470 passengers. So we're adding now August numbers, 28,141 passengers. We are now up to 1,308,611 passengers. And no matter how you slice it, dice it, or turn it around, do whatever you want, those numbers are phenomenal numbers. And if you want to start to put dollar figure to these numbers, you can do so as well, because the average passenger fee would be about $30 one way, or round trip is $30 per movement in and out, or $40 one way. So I say you can use an average price of $30. Yeah, if you want to take away what, 1,000 passengers, 2,000 passengers who may not have paid, it's up to you. Whatever you want to do, but whatever you come up with, it will be in excess of $30 million would have been collected by all of those boats that are moving passengers over there. And perhaps it's more, perhaps it's less, but at least we know the investment continue to pay for itself. And that is what you want when you invest in anything. It is a revenue generating investment, and it is one that certainly has proven to be a major investment on the part of the Nevis Island administration, and it continues to grow, and that is the important thing. And so when you look at the impact, positive impact, one has to say that it was well worth it, and the numbers are there to show that it has certainly brought about the transformation of movement of passengers between St. Kitts and Nevis. You know, I passed there the other day and I looked at the amount of vehicles over there, and I said, what if these vehicles were in Charlestown? We know Charlestown is congested as it is, and if you were to add, you know, that type of movement out of Charlestown, then you're adding to what already exists, and then it would have been a major confusion in Charlestown. So the plan to move up to the north, because of the proximity, of course, first and foremost, but also to ease some pressure off of Charlestown, would have certainly shown us that the movement or the plan is working, and the plan will continue to work because more and more people are seeing the benefits of using this particular service. So Charlestown, the pressure is taken off of Charlestown, and indeed that is what you'd want. All around Nevis, we'd like to spread the business activities that we normally would associate with Charlestown. It would be good to spread it out throughout the entire island of Nevis, and so persons can go to various parts of Nevis and have, you know, ease and comfort in doing business and enjoying the ambience wherever it is, whether it's to have something to eat. If there's an eatery in Gingerland, Cox, or wherever it is, it's always good to have things spread out around the island. We have that type of environment here, and that is why we want persons to, you know, wherever it is, go and have a good time. And so those numbers, they don't lie. Those numbers tells a story. And those numbers are things that you cannot fight against, no matter whether you want to have a program for an entire night to castigate or to shred these numbers apart. You certainly cannot fight against these numbers, and you cannot stop people from using something that is working for them also. And so we want to continue to admonish all of our workers over there at the Water Taxi facility to continue to offer top-notch service, take care of the passengers, and the boat operators continue to apply all of the safety, you know, adhere to the safety regulations and make sure that you're moving persons in a safe environment, because we want to keep this service going, and it will continue to go and continue to grow. And so we leave that there for now. Okay, so moving right along, you know, last week we had well, my cousin was here, Chanel. We were talking about her exploits in her work and different business areas that she has chosen to enter into as well. And I did say that this week when I come here, we'll have a look at, you know, this special sustainable zone authorization bill that was passed a few weeks ago. It has created some discussion within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, certainly here on the island of Nevis, and of course further afield. And it has created some discussion, yes. Some of the discussions are surrounding the truth about this particular bill, and some are surrounded around some of the falsehood that are out there, some of the misinformation, and also the misrepresentation of the bill. It was a bill that I would have supported down there in the federal parliament. As a matter of fact, I did say while I was there that I was not in the best of health then, because the flu seemed as though that many persons would have come down with the flu around that time, and I was victim as well of catching the flu, as we say locally. But I went to support the bill for what the bill really means and what it is intended to do. Of course, the discussions that we've had over the last couple of years is that Nevis has developed tremendously, yes, but there's always more that can be done, and more is needed to move Nevis to the next level of its development. You know, we are up there now, just about to start the expansion of the Van Samry International Airport. It is something that we've been working at for some time, and so we are almost at the point of starting, and some news and some information will be available to the general public shortly as to where we are going with that project. Indeed, I will say some of the difficulties and challenges that we've had is the procurement of the lands that are needed for the expansion. We have paid a few of the landowners already, and we are hoping over the next week or two we'll be moving towards paying additional landowners so that we can grab hold of those lands and move that project forward. That project is one we feel is important to the development of Nevis and will move Nevis to that next level of development. So back to this Special Sustainability Zone Authorization Bill. It is meant to establish a sustainable zone similar to what we call an economic zone. And of course you have heard, and I did mention that in the Parliament, there are economic zones that exist throughout the world, and here in the Caribbean as well too. Of course in Jamaica, in the Bahamas, in the French islands of Guadeloupe and Martinique, the French side of St. Martin, even there in St. Bart's, and of course in the Dominican Republic and other parts of the Caribbean, yes. But this one is a bit different in that it is not so much just a sustainable economic zone, but it is also a sustainable zone whereby you'll have different type of business entities such as hotels, call centers, recreational businesses as well. And of course it will be done in such a way that the environment and the sustainability of our environment is taken into consideration. But we have heard so many things about the selling out of Nevis and all sort of things have been leveled against the government and the Premier of Nevis and the likes. And so I would want to say to our people, yes, we can have debates, we can have discussions, but when you hear something that doesn't sound right, sometimes it's best to ask a question and do some research. But if you depend on those who would want to provide misinformation to satisfy an agenda, then of course it would turn out that you will be suckered into believing certain things, such as when you hear it being said that 6.5 miles of Nevis will be sold out. Where in God's world could that happen? I know the NRP would never do that, and of course I am a part of a party that I know for a fact will never allow such thing to happen. So that is the first falsehood you'd have heard. Then you've heard things about a what they call it, a sovereign enclave, and all kind of languages you have been hearing. And sometimes you just go and Google some of these things and you wonder where people come up with these nonsense about sovereign enclave. And then you hear that, oh, you'll have to get a visa to go into that area. And I say, listen, these things are so far-fetched and so much left field that you wonder how people come up with these things. If one were to read the sustainable zone bill, the special sustainable zone bill, you would understand what it is meant to do and what we'd want to accomplish. I believe in listening to the Premier. The Premier has laid it out in terms of what type of businesses. For example, it will be a high-end type of development, yes, high-end hotel. And if you have high-end hotel, you'll have things like golf course, the hotel plant, of course, golf course, and all of the amenities associated with a hotel development and villa rental program as well. So you understand the magnitude of what is to come. We can have a debate as to whether Nevis is ready for such a development. That is a debate that can be had. But before we start to, speak negative and say, well, we don't want this, we don't want that. Let us look at the positive side. Look at the negative sides as well too. But I'm certain that when you look at the positives, you can come up with quite a number of positive attributes from such a development that will outweigh any negatives that you'll come up with. At least we have always said that our young people need things to do, need work to do. How do you get them to work? Is to find opportunities and create opportunities for them. I just spoke about the airport, for example. How can you marry the airport with such development? We need to put certain infrastructure in place so to ensure when we get this type of development, of course, we can capitalize. How can our young people capitalize on the airport development and such a development? I was thinking the other day, I said, listen, yes, we have a number of taxi services here on the island of Nevis, but for this type of development and the type of persons to whom this would be marketed to, these people are going to have their private jets, I'm sure. And if they land at the Van Summer International Airport, we have gone beyond taxis in that case. Because if these guys are coming in their expensive jets, then it is time for us to start thinking about limousine services. So how many of our young people here on the island of Nevis can certainly invest in such services? I'm certainly there are quite a number of persons. We now have persons on the island who are offering transportation services such as Uber. There's a delivery service or many delivery services of food items and the likes. And how can we capitalize on these developments? I'd love to see a limousine service when these guys exit their expensive jets over there at the Van Summer International Airport. They're stepping into a limo, and that limousine service is owned by a local person engaging in such business to move passengers from Van Summer International Airport to over on the south side of the island. I'm just talking these things because, you know, there are times when we focus more on the negative and the positives are right there in front of us. We should always look for every opportunity whereby we can capitalize on these things so as to create something for ourselves. I've said to our young people who have brought here to speak about their business exploits to continue to press on in what they're doing, and others will follow. And we want our young people to grab hold of opportunities here in the island of their birth. They should be front and center in the development of Nevis. So we have heard about the negatives, and of course the positives are there, but these things about having a government over on that side is pure rubbish, I must say. Let me rubbish that from the start. Because if I were to pick up the bill that we have in question, the sustainable or special sustainability zone bill, one of the things I looked for when I started hearing about all of these things that are to happen, as some people would put it, I say, these persons have not read this bill at all. Because in section 6 of the bill, I just want to let people know that there will be no government under our constitution other than the government of St. Christopher and Nevis and the Nevis Island administration. Yeah. So when you hear about people having to get visa and they'll have a government, of course there'll be rules over there. There are rules and there are laws. There'll be rules, and of course there are rules on different properties here on the island of Nevis. You go down to Four Seasons, there are rules down there. You can't go up into those villas up there at Belmont and so forth and Sunset and all of the Mahogany and those areas and start blasting stereo up there in your vehicle or start making noise up there as if it's your property. No, you have to adhere to the rules that are associated with these properties. So if there are rules there will be no rules to rule out Nevisians from going into those areas. As a matter of fact, if there are restaurants and bars over there, well, who do they expect to come and patronize them? It will be Nevisians going over there. Yeah? Just like we go down to Four Seasons, we go down to Mangoes, we go down to any other property here on the island of Nevis to patronize their bars. I have gone to the Four Seasons gift shop to buy gift or buy items as well too. No one has ever told me I can't come. I have my money to spend, I go and spend. But anyway, section 6 of the bill, which, well, let me go specifically to section 6, subsection I of the bill, which provides for express acknowledgement that the following government matters are within the exclusive legislative, governance and administrative domain and control of the government of St. Christopher and the Nevis Island administration. where applicable, whether within the special sustainability zone or otherwise located in St. Christopher and Nevis. So what this is saying, that whatever legislative, governance and administrative operations are within the ambit of the government of St. Christopher and the Nevis Island administration. So matters such as foreign affairs, including treaty negotiation, execution and ratification, are within the ambits of the Constitution and the government of St. Christopher and the Nevis Island administration. Military and defense remains with the government of St. Christopher and Nevis. Citizenship and residence. Now, when you're talking about a government, these are things that government will do and are mandated to do. It is within their purview. But what this section of the bill is saying, all of these matters remains with the government of St. Christopher and Nevis, or the Nevis Island administration. Election related to the National Assembly or the Nevis Island Assembly and the registration of voters. So if you have a government over there, what those on the other side are saying is that they'll have registration of voters over there, they'll have their own election over there, they'll have their own government, they'll have their own military, they'll have their own Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But this legislation that I'm reading from is saying all of these matters remains with the government of St. Christopher and Nevis. And let us not, you know, muddy the waters by bringing up all kind of different isms and schisms, as they say sometimes, to try and fool and mislead people. The bill is very clear. This bit of legislation is very clear that the jurisdiction of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, Caribbean Court of Justice and Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, where stipulated, are still within the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis and remains with the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, or St. Christopher and Nevis. All matters pertaining to the Constitution remains with the government of St. Christopher and Nevis. So if you have the Constitution of St. Christopher and Nevis that governs the entire federation, every square foot, every square inch, how on God's earth can you have a government over there on the south coast of the island of Nevis? You tell me, who can allow that to happen where the Constitution is supreme? The Constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis is supreme. So when you hear that you can't go over there, rubbish. When you hear you'll have a government over there, rubbish. When you hear they'll have their own laws over there, rubbish. Now if we don't want the development, we can say we don't want it because of A, B, and C. But you cannot be making up things as you go, and you should not be making up things as you go. This reminds me of back in 2005, 2006, when a whole heap of things were made up about an honorable gentleman who is now deceased, about 80 acres. Those lands were not bought from the government, they were bought from the Penny's investment company. And then all kinds of things were said, written in the newspaper, said on the radio. But you know what is different about this? We'll not just sit idly by and let the NRP just run away with whatever they want to say it how they want. We're going to continue to bring the truth to the people of Nevis. So this will not be another 80 acres as far as I'm concerned, because when it was all said and done, when a life was destroyed, a family was destroyed, an island was destroyed, and everything associated with that story was pretty much contrary to what we call decency. When it was all said and done, the destruction was done, and you know what? The NRP said that don't do it work. That's what they said. They made up all kind of things about the honorable gentleman, and when it was said and done and he was no longer on this earth, and we were asking the question, what has become of this matter? They said that don't do it work. I don't know what they meant by that. Well, we can all figure out what that means. And that is the disappointing part about how the politics is played here on the island of Nevis. That we look for ways and means of destroying. Man, if you have done something and you did something wrong, for example, the CFBC matter. If you did something wrong, you did something wrong, and if it is pointed out, well, that is what it is. Money went missing daily, so be it. But that is a fact, and it was a fact then, and it's still a fact now because it's in a court document as well. But when you're going to say that person stole lands, when it's not so, but you want to find a shortcut to government, you come up with all of these nonsense, you know, and it cannot be right, cannot be right. But listen, we'll talk more about this sustainable, this special sustainable zone bill, right? But these folks who are talking, some of these spokesperson out there, I want you to remember, you know, that one of the chief spokesperson wanted to steal government land over there in Cates Bay. And that is in writing as well too. He said that he's going to go to court to seek the court's authorization for a first certificate of title to be issued to him over there in Cates Bay. When in truth and in fact the government was the entity, or still is the entity, that has the first certificate of title for those lands over there in Cates Bay. But he occupied the land for 20-something years, didn't pay any rent, didn't pay any lease, but he was going to court, he said. Wrote to the government, say he's going to court to seek the court's authorization for the first certificate of title to be issued for land that doesn't belong to him, that belong to the people of Nevis. Man, whether it's a half acre, quarter acre, if you want to steal the government lands, then that, in my opinion, renders you and what you say, in my opinion, as they say, null and void. Because you have made an attempt to go and steal government lands. Over on the other side here, the south coast, no land over there belonged to the government as far as I know. I was the Minister of Lands, and I believe the Premier would have done well in articulating what the government had, which is it no longer has at this point in time. But private persons are involved in their transactions over there. And I want to say to the people of Nevis, listen, we can say what we want, but persons have their lands, and they would go and they will sell to whom they want, or they would refuse to sell if they so desire to. I have sold land in my time. I had expenses and I would have disposed of lands. That was my desire, because I will not be in need and hold on lands, because as far as I'm concerned, lands are an investment, and if I dispose of my land and take that money and invest it in something else, then of course I'm still investing. And I still have some investment. But we cannot be telling people not to sell their lands when in truth and in fact, you know the interesting thing? There are people who don't have any interest in Nevis, none whatsoever. They're somewhere out there somewhere. And oh man, they're making the most noise about Nevis and its lands. You may have an opinion to express, but I would approach it this way and say, listen, folks, your choice is yours. If you approach and you're offered a price that is acceptable to you, the choice is yours to sell or not to sell. But I cannot tell somebody, man, you can't sell your land, don't sell your land. Well, you're going to tell somebody don't sell their lands. But yet still, on the flip side of that, we are finding out that the same people who are saying don't sell lands have already sold their lands. They have already sold their land and collect their millions. And they have taken their millions and they have invested it in themselves, you know. Because you can see the difference in some of them already. They have sold their lands because they saw the need and the desire to sell. And they had use for their monies. So who am I to tell them not to sell? And who are they now to come with their hypocrisy to tell people not to sell? Ladies and gentlemen, all I'm saying is that we can have a sensible discussion. And we can have the truth being expressed out there. But all these things about, you know, what will become of over there and putting up a map and say this is the whole chunk of Nevis will be gone. That is just preying on people's emotions. And the truth will be known, and when the truth is known, I hope that those who are spreading this falsehood will one day say really and truly, boy, it wasn't. Not one day, but soon, very soon come forward and say, that is not what it was. Nothing to all go so, because no government, none, will ever sit and allow a whole chunk of Nevis, 6.5 miles of Nevis, as they said, to be sold out. Because in that 6.5 miles, and I don't even want to go into that, but in that 6.5 miles, you have various owners here and abroad. And I'm telling you There's no way anyone would ever take up their land to sell if they don't want to sell it. And if they're not in Nevis and their desire is not to sell, there's nobody can force them to sell. So let us not go down that road. But all I know the NRP very well, and I don't want to make it an NRP CCM thing. But I am talking the truth. And the truth is NRP has opposed everything here on the island of Nevis. Everything. That is their MO. Just oppose. They have opposed the water taxi, but it's out there doing well and continue to do well. They have protested against the Van Sammer International Airport expansion, and we're just about to make some moves on that in terms of advancing that project. They have opposed the Mundo track, everything. They say fly is going to dip in people's food and all kind of stories and so forth. But we have never backed off of our plans and our desire to have that track built. They oppose the movie industry that we would have set up, and we have never relented. We have never backed down or backed off. And as a matter of fact, there are quite a number of movies that have been filmed here on the island of Nevis, and more to come. I've seen some world premiere of certain movies that have been filmed here on the island of Nevis that are coming up soon. So it tells you that people are learning about Nevis, knowing what we offer here, and are coming down to take advantage of an island that offers the right environment for these movies to be recorded or filmed, as they say. Right? But listen, everything that they have opposed, we have pressed on accordingly, and there have been results to show. And as a matter of fact, I will say, you see that police station up there, one of the best in the Caribbean? They have opposed that too. They say all manner of evil about it, but it's one of the best. But I know for sure back in the day, when that old dilapidated station was there with electrical wires hanging out of the wall and conduits leaking water and all kind of mold infestation, I tell you, based on what we have over there, and NRP can oppose as much as they want. It's the best station in the Caribbean. They even oppose our non-established workers' pension plan. You're trying to look after people, to provide them with a secure future, let them retire with some dignity, and the NRP is opposing that. Everything we do, they oppose. You bring this special sustainable zone bill, they oppose. As a matter of fact, when we come up with something else tomorrow, they'll still oppose. Yeah? But what I'll say to the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, and his team, and all those who are associated with the Concerned Citizens Movement, you must know by now who the NRP party is. And you must know by now who the main players are. And you must know by now that those main players are a bunch of failures, and they've been failures in their life up until this point, and they'll even fail at failure as well too. Because that's all they know is to oppose. They don't come with anything positive. Negatives they come with, and those negatives have caused them to fail in their lifetime. And so I am not too fussed about all of this noise. All I'm saying, if we were to back down and back off of any of these things that I've spoken about that they have opposed, like the water taxi, if we had back down, there would have been no water taxi facility where 1.3 plus million passengers have passed through that. If we had back down on, let's say, the Mundo track, our children would have still been down there in the park running on grass. And of course, because of that track, we have had some of the best results and in terms of our students going abroad and competing at the highest level, at the collegiate level and other levels as well too. Yeah, so at least we know that there are some positive results coming out of that. And so we have not backed down, not even on the Malcolm Gishard Park. They had all kind of things to say. But we're going to continue to fight and continue to build this island as we know that we've been mandated to do. And of course the obstacles will come, but we'll get through, over, around, whatever obstacles there are. I hear some music in my ears, but ooh, boy, time fly fast, because I wanted to go through certain other things in the bill. But there are some other weeks ahead that we'll touch that. The technician is there laughing at me, but you know, 1 hour goes by fast, but it's 60 minutes anyway, and I'm done. So I want to say thank you for listening On Point for today. Of course, this program is always available on the different social media platform that Von Radio has, Facebook, YouTube and so forth. And of course I want to say that at least I would close out by saying those who go to church on a Saturday, of course I'm admonishing you to go to church tomorrow. and those who go to church on Sunday, do likewise. Say a prayer for this station. Say a prayer for myself also. And say a prayer for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Ask for God's blessings and protection on this wonderful land. And so I bid you a goodbye and wish you a safe and enjoyable weekend. Those who are celebrating over this weekend, have a wonderful birthday weekend, and give God thanks for his tender mercies towards you as well. So let us continue to stay positive on the island of Nevis. May God continue to bless us all, and have a good afternoon and a pleasant weekend. Goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those